Hi everyone, Vicky from Soul Studio, bringing you another How to Art video. Today we're going to do some quick and easy bookbinding. So I'm going to use a couple sheets of paper and I'm just going to show you how to bind a book with thread to make a zine or a little sketchbook, whatever you choose. So I'm going to have about 4 sheets of computer paper, 1 piece of construction paper or colored computer paper. I'm going to use the yellow piece, and some thread and a sewing needle. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so here I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of white computer paper and then just 1 piece of yellow computer paper. This is a little bit thicker than the other paper, which is fine for what I'm going to do. If you don't have a piece that's thicker, that's okay. You can just use 4 or 5 sheets of regular paper or 1 piece of colored paper that's the same weight as the rest. Doesn't matter. So what I'm going to start out by doing is I'm just going to fold all these pieces of paper really carefully in half. So I'm going to take 2 of my sheets of computer paper and fold them together. Just going to line up those corners really carefully and crease. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the next 2 sheets. Line them up really carefully and crease. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the last sheet. If you want to do them all at the same time, you can. I have just found that they crease a little bit better if I do them with smaller amounts, especially with this harder piece of paper. It would probably offset my crease if I did it with these other pieces, because this is a little harder to crease. But there we go. We're all set. So look, it already looks like a book, right? So now I'm just going to stack all of these pieces of paper inside one another so that it looks more like it did when we first started. But there we go. I'm going to line them all up. Look, you can already see it's looking pretty close to a book so far, but of course we have to get these pages to stay. So before I go and sew this all together, I'm just going to give this crease just kind of another push down just to make it nice and firm. I'm going to open my book up, and with a pencil I'm just going to mark 3 dots. Oops. I'm going to put 1 right in the center, 1 maybe an inch from the edge, and then another one an inch from the bottom. So you can see kind of, I have 1, 2, 3 little dots there. And what I'm actually going to do is take a push pin and push all the way through the pieces of paper where those little dots are. And that's going to give me a hole that I can then thread my needle through really easily. So, I'm just going to hold this and push through. There's 1. Can you see that? Is it in focus? Yeah, there's 1. Take that out, do it again. 2. And my 3rd one here. 3. So now this is the tricky part, but it's not that tricky. I'm going to take a needle, and I have some purple thread here. I don't have too much, but I actually probably have a little bit extra. I have just about, maybe, let's say that's 20 inches of thread, and that's going to be way more than I think I need. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start from the back. So I'm first going to go in through that middle hole. Whoop. Looks like I missed some of the pages, so I'm just going to try that again. There we go. And I'm going to have that needle come right through the center of my book. I'm going to pull it almost all the way through, but not quite. I also just want to point out, I don't have a knot in here right now, but I do have 2 pieces of thread going through my needle. And if you need help threading the needle, because it can be a little tricky, my vision's not great, so it wasn't super easy for me. You can ask a parent or a guardian or somebody else around. So I'm going to pull this through. Again, no knot, but 2 strings, and I'm just going to kind of leave some of this out, just like that. I'm then going to go back in through the hole up at the top. And I just kind of moved my pages a little bit. What can help here is putting a binder clip or even just a paper on these pages so that they stay in place, and then you don't have to line them up again like I just had to. There we go. Up through the top. And I just want to make sure that this does not come back through. I want this little extra bit to hang through here for our next part. So you can see I have a nice purple line inside of my book now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to the bottom hole here, but I'm not just going to kind of go there without thinking. I'm going to split these 2 strings and bring this thread through that middle part. And then back through that hole down at the bottom. Definitely use the paper clips because my book is getting all out of order. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull that through, making sure that 1 string is on one side of my thread and 1 string is on the other side. I'll pull that through nice and tight. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I bet you can guess, I'm going to go right back through that middle hole here. Pull that through nice and tight again, and it looks nice and seamless. Perfect, perfect. I have my 2 strings here, and then just going to snip this with a pair of scissors. So that's snipped. And what I'm going to do before I go ahead and tie this is I'm actually going to push one of these threads underneath that, that middle thread that goes through, so that we have 2 threads on each side like this, and I can pull on them so they get nice and tight. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie them either in a bow or in a knot. I'm going to take both of the threads so that I have just 1 knot instead of 2, and I'm going to tie them over that piece of string that goes through the center. And that is going to keep everything nice and tight and nice and even so that our book won't come apart. And you can pick any color of thread. If you want to just keep it simple and do a knot, you can. If you want to make a bow, you can do that too. These little strings here, you can trim them, you can leave them. Again, if you made a bow, maybe that looks really nice. I'm going to go ahead and trim mine up, and then our book will be finished.